Hey everybody, Matt Bell here, hanging out at the Casa de Bell in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I am doing a bunch of live streams lately. I hope you guys have been seeing some of these, where I'm chatting with some of my favorite people, and I've got a guest with me tonight, and we're going to get to her in a minute. But I do want to, in case you guys didn't see, I dropped a new video today with my buddy Jared Burnett. We've got a duo called Incendium, and we shot a video for this arrangement that we have of the Bach Double and Thunderstruck and Charlie Daniels, Devil Went Down to Georgia. So the video dropped today. The initial concept for this video is that we're gonna ship it. We're gonna ship the video. No, we're gonna shop the video to a bunch of corporate events, and hopefully once the plague passes by, then we can start having some more events where people get together and like don't elbow bump each other. We actually like hug and shake hands and like headbutt or however you greet people when you're greeting people. But yeah, hopefully soon, Incendium the duo is going to be playing some corporate events near you, and you can put on a necktie and you can crash these events and come hang out with us backstage. We'll have some Cristal or something or whatever it is that people put on their riders these days. I usually lately, this is what I've been drinking, just because I can. All right. So anyway, I've been interviewing some friends of mine on these live stream things, just a chance to chat, man. I think everybody feels so isolated. So let's chat and let's share some musical stories and share some stuff, right? So anyway, this is one of my favorite people that I'm going to be chatting with in a minute. Probably 4 years ago, she reached out to me on Instagram, I think, and said, "Hey, I think I can learn some things from you." Oh yeah, I mean, I can teach some stuff. I don't know if it's anything I'm allowed to teach to people that are under 18, but yeah, so I watched a bunch of her videos and I was like, man, she has an insane amount of raw talent. And I think with a little tiny bit of coaching, she could be something for real. Well, fast forward a couple years, she is a student at Berklee College of Music now, and we're going to be chatting with her from Boston, Massachusetts, where she's at, sort of hiding out in the quarantine right now. But we're going to talk about music and life and like the direction that her career is going, and all that. Yeah. So she doesn't know I'm about to do this, but there's a couple of pretty famous videos of her, and I'm going to share one with you right now. This is the first time she ever put her hands on a Viper. So let's see this video. She's just giggling. She's so happy in that video. You can see she's like, "Oh my goodness, I am so happy. This Viper is so amazing." So anyway, let's just go ahead and bring in Mia Asano, okay? So here she is. What's up, Mia?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing great. You're such a rock star.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I love that video. That was crazy. That was such a good day.
So that was literally the first time you'd ever put your hands on a Viper, right?
First time ever. I think I was in Atlanta at the ASTA convention there. And I was still in high school. I was a senior, and I went, and there was Debbie and Nick, and they strapped me in, and the rest was history.
Man.
So,
Hey, what are
yeah,
you
I was
drinking
so
tonight? You got tea or something?
It's tea, and it's a Star Wars mug, like holiday mug.
Well,
It's so
cheers.
fun. Cheers.
So, one of the reasons I wanted to chat with Mia is I think like I have access to you now. In a couple years, you're going to be this big star. You ain't going to have time for me anymore. You can be
Oh my
like,
gosh.
Matt who? Whatever. Um,
I'll never forget you, Matt.
so yeah, so you reached out to me, I guess, what was it, about 4 years ago? You were studying with a couple of different people, right?
Yeah, I was I think I was in the eighth grade still, like something like that, or maybe a freshman in high school. I was pretty young, and I had been pursuing this whole alternative violin thing, and didn't. I was still at the beginning of figuring all of that out. I was classically trained, for a really long time since I was 5, but then, you know, started seeing all these cool electric violin things and just got obsessed. So then, and then you're very like obviously you're kind of the guy to talk to when it comes to electric violin stuff. And I think we met through Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw you were teaching lessons, so it's like teach me, and then you did.
What's funny is early in the day you were playing in like malls and stuff, right? I think you were playing like malls and
Fashion shows.
fashion
Yeah,
shows and
malls.
coffee houses, and you were doing like a bunch of violin covers
Yep.
and
Yep.
like you know
It was like crazy.
like who are you
Mhm.
covering? What were some of the tunes you were doing?
It was a lot of pop music, and and I'm very grateful for that because that's how I learned to improvise. Was I have kind of a funny origin story. I started playing at like fashion shows from the age of 15, and they wanted me to play like easy pop covers. They wanted Lindsey Sterling. They wanted like that type of thing at these fashion shows while the models are walking down the runway. And then I played this one like really huge show. It was my first gig ever. And there's like 600 people in the audience, and there's all these photographers and magazines and like all this crazy stuff. And I'm there like not knowing what I'm doing, with my like really crappy electric violin that I got off of Amazon. This is before I've upgraded, obviously, since then. And I play the show, and then after it's over, this other fashion designer and like a talent agent came up to me, and they ended up hiring me for other fashion shows, and it snowballed into this huge thing. But through playing pop music all the time and like learning the vocal melodies by ear, I kind of trained my ear, and that's how I began improvising. And then I met all these people that helped me refine it after that. But that's the origin story.
Yeah, when we first met, I think you were pretty much just playing by ear and
Hmm.
didn't really understand like the Nashville number system, didn't know any music theory, didn't know a lot of scales. You just got a real ability to play things by ear. And one of the things I liked about your playing was it was so patient. You know, you've got a real patience to your playing that I liked a lot. I've been
Thank you. I
playing in bands
appreciate that.
where my solo space was so limited that it was like
Mm,
you've got like 18 seconds here, play something. I was like,
right, right.
here you go. And your
Yeah.
playing just seemed way more laid back and more patient than that, and that was a thing that I
Thank you.
really liked about it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was I think I met you towards the beginning, like I said, and like I joke about this, but you're the reason I know what a pentatonic scale is. Like you're the first person who made me aware that that existed. Because again, I think I was in like middle school or something, and I'd had classical training, but never anything beyond that. I didn't. I knew major and minor, melodic minor scales. So you open my eyes to the flat five. I was like, what? What is this? And blues and all these things. So I appreciate you for that.
Yeah. Well, guess who just popped in here? Ashani Floyd just popped in here, the mad violinist. He
Oh
said,
my
"You
gosh,
rock, young
hi.
lady. I've been following
Oh,
you."
thank you. Oh my god, I've been following you too. I'm a fan. Thanks for
Awesome. Look at
tuning in.
this. We're making connections left and right. It's crazy.
It's great.
So you talk about like the flat five and the flat three and all the stuff that I started teaching you on that. I've actually got another video I'm going to fly in here real quick.
Oh my gosh.
This is one that you guys did that went viral.
Oh
And so
yeah.
I'm going to throw this in here, but I want everybody to listen what she first starts in this with. She jumped out in this thing. Here comes a video real quick. So yeah, I don't know if you could hear any of that on your end, Mia.
Nope, I have
Uh,
no idea what just happened.
yeah, it was the whipping post video.
Oh, of course.
So yeah, tell everybody what the story is behind that, because that thing went crazy, right?
Yeah, that was one of the craziest things that's ever happened to me. So I think summer of 2017, so I had just finished my junior year of high school and I went to the Berklee 5-week summer program, which was the most life-changing experience because I met a lot of really amazing friends and also was able to audition for Berklee there. And then I was a part of this video, and basically we all had a bunch of ensembles. The 5-week program kind of mirrors your first semester at Berklee. So I'm in all these ensembles, and Mimi Rabson is leading this one, this string orchestra. And we play a couple different tunes, and we happen to be playing Whipping Post. And I mean, you just saw it. And I got to play one of the featured like melody lines, along with my friend Tanya and Brandon Jackson, who I know you know. So then that it gets posted, Mimi posted to Facebook, 5 weeks is over, and a few days later, like we're noticing this video is kind of like going up in views, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like it's hit 1,000 views. Oh, it's hit 2,000 views, and suddenly it has like 100,000 views, and we're like, what? Like what? And I'm refreshing the page, and every time I refresh it, it goes up like 200 views, and all of us, like, I'm on the phone with Brandon, and we're like screaming. We're like, what is happening right now? And just all these Allman Brothers fans, like, were sharing it and seeing it, and a bunch of them are still like, I'm friends with them on Facebook, and they still comment on all my stuff and are very supportive to this day.
That's
they
awesome.
want us to all get back together. Oh, and this was crazy. The Allman Brothers reached out to us after that happened. They emailed us, and they were like, if we were still touring, we would take you with us.
Whoa!
It was crazy.
That goes on the resume. I turned down the Allman Brothers. They wanted to take me out. I was like, nah.
What ended up happening, it's funny you say that, because I had already auditioned for Berklee at 5 week, and then I re-auditioned a couple months later. So for my application, I just submitted that video to Berklee, which was on their YouTube channel. So I like sent them their own video as my application, and obviously it worked out. So very grateful. But that was one of my favorite moments of my entire life, because those people, like, most amazing musicians, most supportive people, most talented people ever, and it was so fun working on that with them. And yeah, I can't believe it like blew up like that.
Man, you know who else? I'm almost hesitate to tell you who else is watching for fear of making you nervous, but Jeremy Diggs is here too.
Hi.
So yeah, he was digging it.
Oh my God.
It's funny, as Shawnee mentioned, he said, I know you went to Berklee where I went. I saw your Charlie Parker post, which gave me memories.
I'm honored.
What you don't know is I have this Charlie Parker video too here. So let's just play that. Let's play some Charlie Parker.
Okay.
All right, so obviously your video cut off. It was an Instagram post. It's just a minute long. But the funny thing to me, when I saw you post that Charlie Parker video, I remember a couple years ago, I'm like teaching you all this jazz theory and stuff, and you're like, listen, I need to tell you something. I don't want to play jazz. I don't like jazz. I don't understand jazz. I don't want to. Jazz ain't me. I want to be a pop violinist. And I said, it's cool. It's cool. I'm not a jazz guy. I can't play that stuff, man. I can't hang out with guys like Jeremy and Ashani. What are you talking about? But I'm a rock guy, but I like being able to throw a little bit of sauce into my solos every now and then. Just, a little flavoring. And so trust me, Go ahead and learn a little bit of this jazz theory. You don't have to sidestep in any of your solos. You don't have to do any of this crazy stuff. Just, I want you to understand it a little bit. You can put a little bit of sauce into your solos, and it's going to make you better. And you're like, okay, I'll trust you. But I don't want to play jazz. I want to play pop. The next thing is she's just ripping on Charlie Parker.
Yeah, it's funny. I proceeded to ignore your advice for like another year after that, and
Most people do.
I was pretty set. I was like, when I was. That's also the difference between like me from early high school to me now, because it's been like 4 or 5 years since, it's been quite the transformation, and Berklee has definitely affected my musical view a lot, because jazz is kind of really the priority here, and it's like there's a huge focus on it. Not necessarily like it's not like everyone is just a crazy intense jazz musician, but most of the classes, like all the harmony classes, are very jazz. A lot of it's jazz harmony, and a lot of the music, like the professors, like I'm studying this semester with Rob Thomas and Jason Anik, like the jazz violinists, so obviously I couldn't escape it here, and thanks to the people I've been able to work with, I've really grown to respect it and enjoy it, which high school me would have been just like, what are you doing? But it's really fun, and that solo has been so much fun to work on. I'm gonna post the full length one as soon as I finish transcribing it.
As well, you should.
I intend to. It's been fun, and especially now that we're kind of quarantined and there's not much else to do, I've been able to really shed pretty hard, and it's felt good.
Yeah, so how are you spending your quarantine? I think that's the thing everybody's asking each other.
Yeah, so I thought about going home to Colorado. I'm from Colorado. It's affecting everyone, especially a lot of Berklee students who are international. It's affecting them pretty negatively because, like, if you fly home and you live in Europe or Asia or something, there's such a huge time difference that you can't really do your online classes. And even for me to go to Colorado, which is 2 hours behind us, it would have kind of thrown things off. And before all of this virus stuff happened, I was in 11 bands, and I was like, it was the busiest semester of my life. I was actually planning a tour for 3 of my bands for this summer. We were starting to book it, like all these crazy things. And then the coronavirus happened, and all the bands still wanted to work together and do stuff. So it just made sense for me to stay in Boston. But my roommate, I live with one other person in Back Bay, and she's from Dubai, and she, a couple weeks ago, just left Boston. She gave me an hour's notice, and she was like, I have to go home before they shut down the airports. So I would have been living alone. So my 3 best friends all have an extra room, and they're letting me stay in their apartment. So that's where I am right now. And I set up a little recording studio in my room. I've been doing a bunch of remote collabs. My roommates are a sax player, a pianist, and a drummer. And we were already in a few bands together. So we've just been jamming. I got out my loop pedal. So we've been like doing a bunch of loop stuff. I got a mandolin. So we started a little folk band. So I'm actually doing more music now than I was when I was in 11 bands 2 weeks ago. So it's great. I'm loving it. I mean, obviously it's very scary times. I really miss my family, and I'm sad that I can't be home right now. But I really wanted to be able to focus on music out here. So I'm glad I'm able to do that, especially during this crazy time that we're in.
Yeah. So you spent a semester overseas, right?
I did. I was in Spain.
Yeah, tell people about that.
Oh my gosh. It was amazing. And again, it's really crazy to think about, because now things are so different there with the virus. And that's been very sad for me too, like hearing how like bad things are getting over in Spain, considering I was just there. But the semester itself was life-changing. I came off of my first year at Berklee, and it was really tough because, Berklee is very intense, and I kind of ended that, had a summer back home in Colorado, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just need something new. I need a change of pace. I need to, have my worldview expanded a little. So I went to Valencia, where Berklee just has a campus there. And it was amazing. The professors there, so this was me breaking into jazz finally. So I forced myself to like really study it there. And So I studied in my private instruction, and I took a jazz ensemble and a flamenco ensemble. I was taking like Spanish culture and history classes, and then like core music classes like conducting and harmony four and tonal harmony and those things. And then I basically traveled every single weekend for 7 weekends in a row. And the most notable places I went were Ibiza, Greece, Italy, Switzerland, Portugal, and then all over Spain, Barcelona, Madrid, Sevilla, Granada. Just it was amazing, and then of course Valencia, and it was so fun. It was like I'm just a different person now. I learned so much about life and myself and the world and flamenco and jazz, all these things. So it was really really cool.
That's awesome. So
Thank you.
I mean, I remember when I first started playing, I got away from classical music and started playing pop and rock and all that. Man, I just remember just the excitement level was so high. Man, I was going out every night
Mm-hmm.
to either I was going out and playing or I was going out and seeing some friends play or hey, this band's coming through town and I don't know anything about them, but I'm going to go see them. And
Mm-hmm.
just all that stuff, the way that it sort of formed my whole view of what could be done and what I could do and how it was just opening doors in my mind. It's exciting to
Mm-hmm.
see you going through that phase right
Thank
now.
you.
So what sort of
Thank you.
new, you talked about Spain, what sort of new things are you seeing and hearing that you think are going to form where your music is going to be 10 years from now?
Hmm. New things like in general or like
Yeah, just,
specifically when I was.
life experiences or new styles of music or sort of mental doors that are opening that you're going, oh man, I can't. Yeah, I think I want that to be part of who I am.
Yeah, well, I mean, starting with Spain, again, like just taking that flamenco ensemble that I was in, like it just so much of it's in Phrygian. I'm like, I've never played Phrygian before. What is this? And that's definitely affected my playing a lot. Now I'm like, adding some flat two in there. So that's been very helpful. Also, just jazz in general has really changed my vocabulary, and I haven't even been like playing it and studying it intensely for that long, but already like just studying tensions and that type of thing has really like I'll notice like, oh, now I'm playing the nine, or oh, now I'm playing like the sharp 11 or whatever. And my ear is going more towards that sound, which is interesting because even a few months ago I was very diatonic and I could not even like play over any sort of changes. And so that's definitely been getting better. A big thing is I have this very intense love for Celtic music, and I always have. It's like it's my thing. It's the thing that I love the most. And of course, I do all these other styles, but for whatever reason, Celtic music just does it for me. And so this semester, which I've never done before now, but I started a little Celtic band, and it kind of just happened. But it's with some of my really good friends here, and it's like me, a mandolinist, a guitarist, a melodica player, and then Brandon Jackson, who can play like everything. So we've just been getting together again before all this craziness happened, but we would get together every week and just play Celtic music, and it's so fulfilling and it's so fun. Because I've done stuff similar in the past. Like I briefly toured with a Viking rock band, and like played with them a bunch, and it was Celtic inspired. But this is like full on like traditional Celtic music. So that's definitely, if I can find a way to fuse that with like whatever else I'm gonna end up doing for the rest of my life, like if there's always some sort of Celtic influence there, I think I'll always be happy.
Awesome. So Sarah Gorak is here, and she was
Hi.
just talking about Rob and Jason,
Oh,
just monster players. I actually got to play with Jason at Asta last year in Albuquerque. Got to do a thing with him
oh
and Drew
God.
Ford and Ross Holmes. That was fun.
Oh my God. Wait, I think I saw that. I definitely saw that. I was like fangirling a little. Ross Holmes.
I was hanging on by
Um,
my fingernails, man.
I think he sounded great. Um, yeah, Jason has been so incredible to work with this semester. I wasn't expecting to be able to work with him as much as I have been, but he agreed. So when I was in Spain, I started a string quartet. We're called MIDI strings. which it started as a joke because I think that name's hilarious. But we were like the only 4 string players that were there because it's like a 200-person program. We were the only 4 string players like in the undergrad, and so we're playing on all the sessions because there's a huge recording like minor there that a bunch of people were doing. So they needed strings on everything. So we ended up jamming. We started a string quartet, and then we got permission to come back from Doc Wallace to come back to Boston and start the Turtle Island String Quartet Ensemble of Berklee. So we're an ensemble that plays the music of the Turtle Island String Quartet, and Jason, of course, wanted to be our coach. So we've been getting to work with him every week, and then he asked me to he let me know that he has like a jazz strings masterclass ensemble that he also teaches, and so I got to be in that. So now I get to see him like 4 hours a week and work with him pretty closely. And my playing has just gone like thanks to him, because like, I mean, you know how he plays.
Yeah, he's
incredible. He's a really really teacher. Yeah. So that's just been so, and then also getting to work with Rob on top of that, it's been a lot of jazz and it's been really really helpful. And I have a lot of respect and admiration for both of those guys.
Man, look who else is here. Cremaine Booker is here. Says
Hi.
Ross Holmes is the man. He is indeed. I'm actually working on a project with Cremaine right now. I think he just texted me, actually. That's what I was looking at on my phone. I'm in the middle of something with Cremaine right now. Do you know him?
I'm not sure.
He goes by That Cello Guy. I think That Cello Guy 15 on Instagram.
Wait, yeah, definitely. Hi.
He's out of Nashville. He's an insane cello player and this amazing singer and just a super good guy. So
that's so cool.
I need to interview Cremaine for the podcast at some point too.
Do it.
So are you doing any writing? Let's talk about that. Besides all these bands that you're in, are you doing a lot of writing?
Yeah, I actually am, which is surprising. Again, I've been doing writing a lot of original stuff for this Celtic band that I'm in. I also have my own solo project, like the Mia Asano band, that I've kind of continued on from high school. It's mostly covers, but now I'm adding a bunch of my originals, because this is something that nobody knows because I've never really talked about it on social media or anything, but I am a very avid songwriter, and I've been doing that since like middle school. But one of my focuses, I'm double majoring here at Berklee, but one of my focuses one of my majors is pro music, the other's performance, and within pro music, like professional music, you can have focuses. So one of mine is songwriting. So this semester I'm in a songwriting and lyric writing class, and for those classes I've been having to do like weekly assignments that I've then been able to expand on. So I have a bunch of like original songs, and I've also started singing publicly again, and it's been like a few years since I've done that publicly. So it's been like really, this is interesting. You're catching me at a time when I'm really like coming up off of this kind of musical slump I was in, and I was kind of acting out of fear and out of self-judgment, and now I'm like, you know what, if it scares me, that means I should pursue it, and in a good way. And so anything that I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can do that, or oh, I don't know if I'm good enough, I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna do it anyway. So hence the sharing my songs with people and singing and playing mandolin and doing all these, and jazz, like things I'm not good at. But by doing them now, I'm actually getting better, and so that's a lot of growth that's happened.
My goodness, there's another amazing violinist here. Autumn Brand is here. Autumn Brand's another Raleigh person. She's got a band that's in the middle of blowing up right now too. So I'm going to have to interview Autumn soon too. Gosh, so many amazing people.
In one of our first lessons together, you told me to check her out, and I friended her on Facebook, and I've been a fan of hers ever since.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Look at this. Like, everybody's such a community. This is wonderful. Yeah. Such a cool community. So, yeah, you talk about singing. That's it's one of the things that I think is really important for any instrumental musician to do, is to sing. And the thing is, like, you've got to learn, and it took me a long time to learn this. I've been a backup singer for a long time. I'd always done harmonies and stuff with the different bands I've been in. But I was like, I don't want to sing lead, man, because I'd always been in these bands with killer lead singers. And they're like, you want to sing any lead? I'm like, not after you. And then so when I finally started playing with this guy, Tuff Blanton was a bass player, and he basically bullied me into start singing some lead. And and the thing was, what I started doing was trying to sound like these singers that I liked. Right. So I kept trying to sound like guys that I had toured with. And finally Tuff was like, bro, I got to be honest with you. The singing voice that you use when you're trying to sing lead is not good. You sound like you're trying to sound like somebody else. So when you're singing harmonies, your voice is amazing. Just use that voice. I'm like, yeah, but I don't like that voice. It's thin and it's high, and I sound like a girl. And he goes, just, you know what? Just the voice that you have is the voice that you have. Now you can get better at using it, but that's the voice that the universe gave you, or God gave you, or whatever you believe. That's the voice you got. So just wrap your arms around it, embrace it, and just do that. So ever since I started singing, like, don't try to sound like anybody else, just sound like you. I'm telling you as a friend that it sounds okay. Just send it, And the thing is, like, we hear in our head with all this reverberation and all that stuff in our head, we hear this full, thick sound, right? And you hear your voice on tape, you're like, oh my God, that's awful. I'm so sorry, everybody. If that's what you're hearing from me, I'm so sorry. But the thing is, everybody's used to hearing that. They're not freaked out by it. Just send it, dude. Just send it. It's fine. John Lennon hated his voice. Like, so many singers hate their voices. Just embrace it. Go with it. If it's bad, somebody will tell you. Somebody on YouTube will tell you, because they got all kinds of guts on YouTube. Jerks.
Yeah, some hater on Instagram or whatever. I will say, I have a lot to say to that. First of all, I listened to your whole record that you just put out, and I think it sounds amazing. Like, I have the whole thing saved on Spotify and Apple Music, which I use both of them. So it's badass. You're amazing.
That's why I brought you on, because I
plug your music. And yeah, I had a similar situation. Like, I went to a performing arts middle school and high school, and then now I'm at Berklee. So I've been surrounded by incredible singers for the last 9 years of my life. So after a while I was kind of like, okay, I'm a violin girl. Like, that's what I do. I'll leave the singing to the singers. And for that reason, then I was depriving myself of this thing that makes me really happy and that allows me to express myself. And I was literally earlier in the semester, I was writing all these songs and I was having other people sing them. And until some of my friends were like, why aren't you singing your own songs? Like, why are you trying to get other people to sing them? And I was like, interesting point. And that's another reason I think I gravitate so much towards folk music, because for that I don't have to be belting and or singing with all this training. I can just kind of sing from the soul, and that's been really really good for me. So I'm enjoying it a lot.
Man, so another comment just came in. My friend Eric Monterio is here, who is an insanely good singer here in Raleigh. I've had a chance to play with him a couple times, and he's just, his voice is amazing. And he just says, we are our own worst critic. I hate my voice, but people love it. I'm like, you hate your voice? Are you drunk? Like, dude, if I could sing like Eric, y'all could not shut me up. People would just start wearing headphones around me. They'd be like, dude, just stop.
It was so interesting going to the MW Rock camp this summer, which is where I finally met you in person for the first
we've known
time.
each other for years, but we've never been in a room together.
It's crazy. Now I finally know how tall you are. But what was so, I mean, this isn't my main takeaway from it, but something that really hit me hard was just seeing all these incredible violinists performing, and every single one of them was singing, all of them. Even Chuck,
even Chuck. We had to get Chuck a little inebriated before he would sing.
Right.
Oh, Chuck is here.
Oh my God, hi.
Chuck just goes, can't shut you up anyway, dude. That's true.
Amazing. Um, but that was very inspiring for me because I was like, oh my gosh, all of these guys are singing, like all of them. And that was another reason I started kind of focusing on that. Was yeah, I was like, well, if everyone's doing it, there's obviously something to it. And it turns out there is.
Chuck just put up the rock hands. Chuck, I'm so
I mean,
glad to see you here, man. And oh, Autumn just said this girl is rad, man. Oh
I
yeah.
love her. Oh my
I've
gosh.
been I've been a Mia Asano fan for years, man. I finally got a sticker on my case.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm honored.
So if you guys have not been to miaasano.com, you need to do that and visit her and please tell me that you're going to start recording and putting a lot of this music out, right?
That's the plan. We will like, especially now that I actually like have a kind of a little studio set up. That's kind of been I've been making moves to start doing that. So we will
Good.
see what happens.
Good. Yeah, just
Yeah.
put it out. Don't worry about it. Put it out. It's the same
Yeah.
deal about putting yourself out in a room and like it's just sending it to the room. Well, sending it to iTunes is a little bit bigger room, but
This is true.
yeah, Ashani said he loves your story. Abby Stahlschmidt's here.
Oh.
Awesome. She says she loves it.
Oh hey. Oh my gosh, hi, I'm a huge fan.
I just chatted with her the other day. We did a live stream for Kotobo.
Oh, I actually saw that. She's so cool.
Abby's awesome. Yeah. We got a chance to play together at NAMM this past year.
I also saw that. I've been keeping tabs. You guys all were. That was the cool. I was so jealous I wasn't there. It was like all the most epic electric violinists ever. All you guys were there.
Dude, you got to come to
Um,
NAMM this year.
I want to. How do I go to NAMM?
Oh, call me. I'll get you set up.
Okay.
All you got to do
Well,
is get to
it's
California.
okay. I'll do that. Assuming all this blows over. I got asked to play at NAMM when I was a senior in high school, and my jazz band director didn't let me go because we had a jazz concert that day, so I had to skip NAMM. Um, I was so
Tell him
sad.
it's jazz, dude. Just improvise. Pretend I'm there. Hey, look, Lisa Russell's here
Oh hi.
from MW Rock. We were just talking about
Of
that.
course. Yeah, I miss you.
Awesome. So what's
I'm gonna
coming
keep.
next? I mean, I know that I don't want to push you too hard in this direction because like my 12-year-old son, I was just asking him the other day, he wants to be a pilot. And he
Right.
changes his mind every time when I ask him what kind of pilot. First is a fighter pilot, then he wants to be a helicopter pilot, and then this. And I'm like, dude, what do you want to fly? And he goes, Dad, I'm 12. I've got time.
Wow.
Fair enough. So you're like, you're young. You got time to decide what you want to do. And I think a lot of it too is just this part of your life. You're just
Mm,
sucking up so much stuff. You're like, you know what? I'm going to absorb all this stuff. And at some point, it'll become obvious to me what I'm supposed to do.
mhm.
But I don't know if you've got any inkling that's starting to pop into your head about where you think Mia Asano is going to be a few years after
Mhm.
Berklee. If you're like, listen, I'm just soaking this up. I don't even want to think about it. Then just say that.
Mhm. Um, it's really interesting because I had a very, very clear goal for a while. And I'm talking like 15 years old, like, didn't know as much about music as like I've been exposed to like since then. When I was younger, I wanted to be famous and I wanted to be like the next Lindsey Sterling in terms of like the types of touring, the types of
Mm-hmm.
videos, the types of like that type of stuff. So, and I remember I was 15 again. So I was like, you know what? Who cares about the music? I want to tour. Like, I want to just trick people into thinking I'm like really good. So
That's what I do.
I've, um, I've since drastically changed, and this is actually a realization I've come to over the past, like, again, had a very, very intense musical slump, where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, like, what's happening, like, what is this? Like, I was very, very lost. Um, and what now kind of where I'm at and what's helped me get out of that is, to me, it's not famous, because like what is that anyway? I just want to be fulfilled with the music that I'm playing, and I want to enjoy it, because there was a time in my life pretty recently when I wasn't enjoying music, and it felt like work, and it felt like scary, and I wasn't being authentic to myself. So now I've taken all this pressure off of myself too, because I had a very specific plan for a really long time. I was like, I'm going to go to Berklee, then I'm going to move to LA, and I'm going to start trying to tour, and now I'm like, you know what? I can do anything I want. I'm just going to like focus really heavily on just playing music that I love right now. And I'm very kind of proud of myself because I'm doing that now, and I'm prioritizing that, and I'm doing it in a way that I haven't done before. So, I'm in all these really different projects. I'm getting to study with all these really incredible people. I'm getting to meet and work with really amazing musicians. And I'm just soaking that in and enjoying that. And now it's kind of like almost backwards. Like I feel like a lot of people go without having a plan and then kind of figure it out. I went with having a really specific plan, and then I've just thrown it all away. And now I'm like, universe, like, point me on the right path. I'm open to anything, and that's where I'm at.
Man.
But of course I want to perform. Like that's of course the dream. And I'm doing it, like,
that's so incredible.
Just in a different way than I planned.
So Ashani commented, he said there are 7.3 billion people in the world. Feed them when your soul is ready. You're amazing. There's nothing like cultivating your own followers who love you for you. And then he said he has to run, but he's looking forward to your future. Peace and love.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Man, that's fantastic advice.
Yeah,
and I was going to tell you too, like, this isn't musical advice. This is, my son is a BMX rider, as you know, and just got his first sponsor. He's 12 years old, and he's doing all this cool stuff. But I've been there for him. He's been riding for half of his life, for 6 years. And
wow.
And it's not that long compared to, we've been playing music a whole lot longer than that. But he has already sort of gone through some periods where, gosh, Dad, I'm not feeling this BMX thing right now. And he'll go through periods where he just doubts himself a lot, or he's not learning a lot of new stuff. And right. I got to sort of coach him like, man, this is what it's like, man. There's going to be some periods in your life where you get on the bike, and every time you try a new trick, you're going to land it on the first try. And then there's going to be some periods where you try and try and try, and every time you try, you crash. And you're like, dude, I'm never going to land the stinking trick as long as I live. But the way you get out of a slump, you hit your way out of a slump. So I make him ride the bike. We don't push him as hard when he's sort of in a slump. He's not riding 3 or 4 days a week when he's in a slump. It's maybe 1 or 2 days. We say, hey, we'll take a little pressure off. I'll change my coaching techniques a little bit. I'll sort of back off a little bit. Just, you know what? You're 12, dude. Go play for a couple hours on the bike. Just have fun. Okay?
Right.
But when it starts to roll over and it's like, hey, I'm going to try this new trick, and I landed on the first try, and it's like, wait, I think I'm back.
Right.
Just sometimes you just got to stop putting pressure on yourself and just go, you know what? Music is supposed to be fun. The reason I play music is because it's fun. I'm just going to have fun for a little while. You're what, 19 or 20?
20.
Yeah. I didn't release my first solo album till I was in my 40s. I toured with other bands playing other people's music for a long time, and I'm a slow learner, so it took me a long time to sort of decide what I wanted to say. Mm-hmm. And actually, it turned out that the whole time I was actually saying something. I just didn't realize I was saying something. But it just when you're ready, it'll be there. And there'll be things that you can do in the meantime. And you know what? If you spend a period of your life doing things that are not what you're going to be, you're totally allowed to do that. You're totally allowed to, hey, I'm just going to be a side person in a band for a couple years. Maybe I'll write some music on the side. Maybe I won't. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm gonna go play in a cabaret band or something for a couple years. Maybe I take a cruise ship gig. It pays great. I
Mm-hmm.
get to see the world. There's no stress. Maybe I'll just do that for a couple years. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. But don't just don't put a lot of pressure on yourself, I think.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm now that I'm not, ooh, sirens, because for such a long time I was putting all this pressure on myself, and then I would kind of be really really hard on myself and get really down if I wasn't achieving whatever goal I was trying to set for myself. And now that I have opened up my life to whatever, like things are so exciting now, and I feel like there's endless possibilities, and I can say like, oh yeah, let's go be on a cruise ship, or let me go like backpack through Europe for couple months, which I guess you can't really do right now. But life seems a lot more exciting now because I'm not limiting myself by having expectations. And the other thing was there's this concept of kind of the more you know about a topic, like the worse you feel about it, and like the harder you are on yourself about it. Because I've been wondering like, how is it that the Mia of 2 years ago could play so fearlessly and like just go into any jam situation and just like do it. And even though I'm better now than I was then, but now it's like, why am I so stressed every time I'm playing publicly? And a big reason for that is, one, I know kind of just how vast and expansive music is now, so it's like scary because I have so much higher expectations of myself than I used to have. The other thing is I stopped for a while. I stopped playing music for myself because I love it, and I started playing it to impress other musicians. And that's like side effects of going to music school. You can't really escape it. But also I became very aware of that, and now I've changed my expectations of myself again. It's like, you know what, I what other people think of me doesn't like matter if I'm not happy with what I'm doing. And even if they are judging me or don't like how I play, like at the end of the day, I'm gonna be with myself and my playing for the rest of my life. So what's most important is for me to feel happy about what I'm doing and fulfilled. And if I'm proud of myself and if I'm putting in the work, that was the other thing. Like it suddenly dawned on me like a couple years ago, like you have to really work hard to achieve what you want to achieve. I'm like rambling now, but
No,
all
no,
those
this
things
is all amazing.
thank you. Yeah, all those things kind of clicked into place and solidified for me. And now I'm in a much better place because uh, I have pushed through like acting out of fear, and I'm not living my life out of fear. I'm living my life out of like passion and like, love for this art again. Um, and now I feel like I'm doing all the things that the Mia who you first met when I was in high school, like that Mia wanted. It's like everything that she wanted. I'm doing it now, but with much different goals. And it's not exactly how I pictured it would be, but it's way better for that reason.
Yeah. That's amazing. The maturity in that, there's so many people I know that are way older than 20 who haven't wrapped their mind around that. And I can just one of the cool things I know when I first I didn't go to Berklee. I didn't go to music school at all. My degree's in chemical engineering actually, but my
That's so
music
cool.
school was hanging out in a biker bar in Beaumont, Texas, with a
Mm,
bunch of guys who turned out to be pretty big stinking deal. My friend John Calderon was out with Al Jarreau. My friend Todd Howard is out with Granger Smith, a huge country star. My friend Billy McQueen, who's a drummer who reminds me a lot of you and just the way that he looks at things, is a percussion professor now. My friend Jared is a music minister at a big mega church. Like some of these guys, my friend, there's another guy who's touring with some of the guys from the Scorpions. Like some of these guys are big deals, and we were all
right.
just hanging around drinking beer and like being stupid in our early 20s together.
Mm,
That's where we sort of learned how to do all the things you're doing, and just being
mm,
around people that are talented and creative are going to push you to try things and learn things. Like your friends like, hey, why aren't you singing this song? What are you talking about? You wrote the song,
right.
you sing this stinking thing. Like those are the friends you want. You want friends that are going
Yeah.
to push you into uncomfortable places that they know you're going to succeed even if you don't.
Yeah. And yeah, and I'm very lucky that I'm now like I'm surrounded by these people that are pushing me to do things, and people that are so supportive and have faith in me even when, like, I feel like all the musicians are constantly going through the crisis of like, oh, I think I'm doing great. Oh no, I'm the worst. Like, and that constant struggle of, doubting yourself and believing in yourself, and just surrounding yourself with people that will support you and, help you out of your slump, and yeah, point out why aren't you singing, or my friend, he was like, get out your looping pedal, like we have to jam, and then I did it, and I haven't used that thing in like a year, and then suddenly I remember how fun it is and why I love doing that kind of stuff, but I appreciate being around other people that inspire me and motivate me,
Well, I got
which is
bad
another
news
reason.
for you as an artist. Like the whole crippling self-doubt thing, that doesn't go away. That never goes away. It doesn't matter. Like I remember a post that I made, gosh, it was probably 5 years ago now. You were like 10 or something. I had just played a show down at the beach, and the crowd was so into it. The crowd was so into the night. My band was killing. I felt like I had a horrible night. I was having imposter syndrome out the yin yang. I'm like, I'm the worst violin player in history. I cannot believe this band is still paying me. The people walking out of here have got to be like, that dude is the biggest fraud in the history of history. I was so low after that show. The lows are so low. And I posted something about it, and I got a DM from somebody who's a Facebook friend she's been a fan for a while. She's like, my friend and I left and said, I think this is the best we've ever heard him play. And I'm like,
wow.
The disconnect between what's happening between my ears and what the crowd sees and hears is so earth-shattering. You're like, were you hearing the same things I was hearing? And I was talking about this with Earl Manian not that long ago. Earl is an incredible violinist and a good friend of mine.
Amazing.
And we were saying that the thing is, like, you're the nights when you think you are king of the world, and the nights that you think that you are a piece of human garbage. Like, the gap is so huge in your mind, right? Mm-hmm. The gap in reality, once you reach a pro level, like, your king of the world nights are like this good, and your human garbage nights are like this good. They're just like, it is so close. It's like 101 versus 99.9. That's the difference. And in your mind, it's like 10,000 and negative 50. So, man, I can't stop coughing ever since I got back from China. Yeah, bad joke these days.
Be careful.
Everybody's freaking out. So yeah, the crippling self-doubt thing never goes away. The imposter syndrome thing never goes away. Because of my job, I get to talk to some of the most amazing players alive, and they all deal with this. So it doesn't go away, but maybe it helps to know that, like, everybody's going through it.
Yeah, that helps a lot. And also, like, yeah, we're all going through it. And what helped me was, like, not letting it keep me from being productive and keep me from pursuing my goals. Because for a while it was. And then this semester I was like, you know what? Screw that. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do regardless if I don't think I'm good enough. They did like a study at Juilliard this is a little bit of a tangent, but they basically took like this one class of people there and wanted to see who like made it after they graduated. So it was a long study. And what they ended up finding, and they studied their practice habits, like, different personality traits of theirs. And they discovered that the people who were successful versus the people that ended up not like making it in music, what the successful people had was, they defined it as grit. So it was like, when life knocks you down, when you're in a difficult situation, instead of letting it like get you down and hold you back, it motivates you to strive harder and get through it and get better. So in a difficult situation, in like a jam where you feel like you didn't sound good, or if you get like vibed by, pretentious musicians or something, instead of being like, oh, I'm not good, Huh?
That would never happen.
Oh yeah, huh. I'm just what am I saying? But instead of letting it get you down, you get motivated to push past it and get better. And I used to be the kind of person that would face adversity and shy away from it and feel really bad about myself. And now I force myself to push through it and just like work hard and not let it get to me and do what I want to do anyway. And that one thing has just been so life changing, and it's been a pretty recent development. But for that reason, now I'm doing all this stuff that I'm really excited about instead of like being scared to even try.
Yeah. Well, hell yeah. That's a rock and roll attitude. It's what I'm doing. You don't like it? Kiss my rear.
Right, because like again, what good is it gonna do me if I don't do something because other people don't think I can do it? Like how is that gonna benefit me? Like it won't.
No, you're absolutely right. And like I said, the maturity level that you've got at 20 years old, man, if you could bottle that and sell it, you'd have $1 zillion.
I think they'll take it to Shark Tank.
There you go. And then, then we wouldn't have to worry about no quarantine. We could buy all the toilet paper.
Oh my gosh. I was at the grocery store today and it was wiped out. I couldn't believe it.
Wiped out? I see what you did there. So good. She's a comedian.
Thanks, guys. I'm quitting music. I'm going to go into stand-up comedy.
Well, listen, this has been a fantastic discussion. Thank you so much for doing this. And I'm really excited about your career and where you're headed. And don't feel no pressure on that. If you don't put your CD out until you're 50, it's cool. I'll still buy it. I'll be in the grave, but I'll have my estate purchase a couple copies.
Oh, well, thank you so much, and thank you again for having me here. Like, you're one of my favorite people. You've been one of my biggest inspirations and supporters, and again, thanks to you, I know what a pentatonic scale is.
If she plays too many pentatonic scales, I'm sorry, everybody. It's my fault.
Yeah, it's your fault. You can blame Matt Bell. But no, that's my joking way of saying that you helped me a lot from a young age. So I'm really, really grateful for you.
Well, it's been a privilege, and I look forward to seeing what you do. You got to release some of this stuff, all the stuff you're recording. I got to hear it.
I will. You will hear it very soon.
Awesome. Take care. Abby Stahlschmidt just threw in a thing. What did she say? Just a reminder that the one person you admire, Lindsey Sterling, when she was on AGT, was not allowed to go through, and Simon told her she was awful. It didn't stop her. It gave her fuel. It's true.
This is true.
Awesome. Well, we're going to end on that. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. It was good to see you. So many people here in the middle of the night. Awesome.
Oh, my gosh. Hi, guys. Thanks for being here.
Mia, I'll talk to you later. Stay safe. Don't get the Rona, and do lots of practicing.
Thank you, too. Thank you. I appreciate it. Bye.